Alright, so I think I am live now. Let me know if you can hear me well and everything. I just had some connection, like internet issues just now, so if you see any problem, just let me know. I don't know if I will be able to fix any of that. But let's get started. Yeah, basically what I want to do today is go over the facial topology of Samus and like explain the theory behind why each loop is in the position it is, and why like why it helps with deformation. So I guess I'll start with explaining what the three curves principle is, because my base mesh is heavily based on that. I wrote a small article a few months back detailing why that helped with everything, and I'll basically be saying everything that I said in there. So yeah, let's start quickly by making a demo of what that is. Okay, I'll just move those points. There, those points here. And basically the idea of the three curves principle is that you have three curves that add up to one good deformation. So if we have like, imagine that this very simple mesh is just like an eyebrow, for example. You would have one side of the eyebrow, the other side, and the middle here. Or maybe the upper lip is a better example. So that would be the corner of the mouth, the other corner, the middle, and so on. So what you'd want to be able to do as an animator is to deform basically one side of the lip like that. The other side basically just the same. Imagine that these two curves were basically the same. And you'd want to be able to move the middle of the lips as well. And those three curves would basically just add to one shape like that. Excuse my poor drawing skills. So yeah, so how do we do that when we rig? We basically just create what I call core loops. So these three edges right here, that we'll basically use to create those curves. And if we subdivide the mesh, you can start to see that we will get those curves. So all right, so let's do that. Let's put that in practice a bit. I will create shape keys for that. So I will have my basis shape key and three other shape keys. So this would be the left curve, the mid curve, and the right one. Let's make those. So the left curve, pretty simple. Let's move it up like that. Let's maybe move that one up a bit, like so, just to have a nice fall off, and possibly that one just a tiny bit. And sorry, I did that on the right one, of course. Yep, I did. So I will use Blender's mirror shape key tool to just flip it on the right side. Actually, I'll remove the left one, and with that one activated, create a new shape key from mix, which will basically duplicate the shape key and call that left, and mirror that one again. So now I have my two keys, my left key that's currently activated, the right one, and if we add those together, we start to get the idea of that those two curves add to one curve. And we basically want the mid curve to give us that nice, I guess, rugby shape, rugby ball kind of shape. So I'll activate it. It does nothing for now because this shape is basically just the default for now. In Blender, if you want to see like the result of all your shapes while you're in edit mode, you just check that box right here. And then you can make modifications onto whatever shape key you have selected. So in our case, that's this one. And I want to maybe do something like that or something. And now I can do like any combination of those three shape keys to get an interesting shape for the mesh. Now, in the original video that I linked here, the guy only talks about the three curves I've added right now. I do think it would be better to think of this as, well, basically 5 curves, because I kind of want to be able to control the corner here with this same principle. And so what I'll just do is add a new shape key that I'll call corner left. And with everything activated, and this one as well, I will start moving those points up just to get to roughly that same point. I'm not going to go into and try to make everything perfect. But yeah, that looks good enough. And I will duplicate that. Actually, disable everything, duplicate this one with the new shape key from Mix, and call that corner right. Alrighty, the corner right, I can mirror the shape key, so I get the opposite of that. And now I can, if I disable it, activate everything. Sorry, that's this one. And now I can start to move the corners of the mouth as well. And I guess it's going to be more explicit if I have the lower lip as well, because right now I'm just doing stuff on a fake upper lip. So let's just duplicate that mesh, scale it by -1 on the z-axis, and now I also have well, basically the same controls, but to move everything down. Actually, I'll delete it because I forgot to do one thing. I can set the minimum range of every of these shape keys, each of these shape keys, and set them to -1, which will allow me to, well, to just move them in the opposite direction. And so now I can move the corner up and down, I can move the mids up and down, the left side up and down, and so on. So, right. Let's now duplicate that again, scale that negatively on the z-axis. And yeah, I will just quickly add bones to control this very simple rig that I just made. So I will show the wireframe to know what I do and snap onto the vertices. Okay, let's scale those. Rename them upper L, upper mid, upper right. Let's just duplicate them and put them down. I think I'll scale them a bit more. like that. I hope you can still see the bones. And let's name these ones lower. Lower dot right, and I will just duplicate that one and twice to have the corner controls. So corner dot right, corner dot left. Okay, so now I basically have all my controls for my simple mouth rig. And what I want to do with that is basically drive each of those shape keys with the Y position of each bone, because the Y sorry, if I go into item in pose mode, if I drive the Y position of the bone, it goes up, and that's the direction I want to drive the shape key with. So how do I do that? I basically just need to select the bone, select everything, and lock all the axes except the Y one. That way I don't create some nonsense. Right, so to drive the shape key, you can right click on the attribute you want to drive the shape key with, and copy as new driver. And that's a pretty nifty option that lets you just take an attribute and drive something with it, and that something will be our left shape key. So just paste the driver in there, and now if I move the joint, or the bone rather, I start moving the left side of the upper lip. So let's do the same for all our keys. So the mid, paste driver, go in pose mode, copy as new driver, paste here, this one, copy as new driver. I want to drive the right one, paste driver, let's do the same for this one, copy as new driver, and paste it here. So if I paste the driver here, now I can control everything with my bones, even the corners. I can move things down. Everything was fine. I need to do the same for the lower lip now. So again, copy as new driver, select the left, this mesh, paste driver, and repeat that for all the bones. Okay, so I have this. You'll notice that the direction isn't the right one, because when I move this up, I will get this arc in the lower section, and the simple fix for that is just to rotate the bones 180 degrees, so that the Y axis of the bone points down instead of up like these ones. So just doing that will fix my issue. And I'm starting to have some control over how I want the mouth to look like. And the only thing I still need to fix is the corner right here. And how do I fix that is, well, in that case, I can pretty much copy the drivers of the upper lip. So copy the driver of the corner left and paste it. And same for the corner right, copy driver, paste it. But that will probably give me some issues, right? Because, yeah, I'm driving the same shape key and I don't really want that. When I move these ones up, I want to drive the corner up, but I want to drive the corner up of the lower lips in the opposite direction, if that makes sense. So to do that, that's fairly simple. I'll just go to the drivers. Editor type, yeah, that's it. Select the mesh and then find the actual driver that I want. So in this instance is the corner left and right. And in the drivers tab here, I just want to basically invert that value that I get. So instead of using the average value, I want a scripted expression and just negate it by putting a minus just in front there. Same thing for here, negative, and now we have a pretty much a full mouth rig, or like a simple one, where I can move this up, I can select those two, move them up together, or yeah, just this. This is basically the idea of the 3 curves principle, and the great thing about that is that however I shaped that current pose, I can select all the controls and move the whole mouth up and down by selecting everything. And the shape doesn't change because, yeah, it all adds up to the same shape. And that's pretty nifty. So I guess, yeah, that's the idea behind the 3 curves principle. Now I can show you how I ended up implementing that in Samus' face topology. If I can find it again. Why is it hidden? Or maybe because it's a lot smaller. All right, so let's isolate that. I will make a bunch of annotations. I will like have a green or like red one actually, and a green one just to highlight all the edges I want to show. I'll also make sure that the tool snaps to the surface. Yeah, cool. So let's go back in that mode. Basically, I'll hide the textures because that's annoying. So I have a lot more topology on there than what I had below, but if I will just highlight the ones that are actually important for the deformations, and the other one can just be considered as filler shapes or like edges. So yeah, I was basically saying that yeah, that topology was a lot more dense than what I showed earlier, but there are really it can get quite low if I unsubdivide everything, because basically it's this base mesh at that level. So I can unsubdivide this mesh down to that one, which I can get to right here. And this one is really made to be able to follow the 3 curves principle I just explained, to help with the final deformation of your mesh. So yeah, I'll go over where the loops are placed here. So I basically have between, since I subdivided my mesh twice, between 2 of my core loops like this, I have always 3 points, or 3 edges. So I know that this right here would be one of my core loops, and I just noticed I had a tiny issue where these 2 loops should actually line up and they don't. So I'll have to fix that off stream next time. All right, so 1, 2, 3, and now I have this loop. This loop right here. And it goes down here. And you'll notice that I have actually more loops than I had. Where is this? Oh, it's hidden because I'll keep that above here. Okay. So I actually have more loops on the mouth than what I explained just before, because I would have the middle loop here, one loop on each side, and a supporting loop over here. But yeah, I did that to have a bit more control over the deformation. And basically what I did is, instead of treating the whole mouth as this, I basically treated each side of the mouth as one thing to apply the 3 curves principle on. So instead of having one loop here, one here, and like one here and one here, sorry, so 3 in total, I end up having one like this and another one like this. So as you can see, this becomes the center loop, and this is the actually, I'm not. Alright, so ignore what I just said. I'm just talking nonsense. I do actually have things set up in the same way as this, but if I had like filler loops in between, supporting loops as I could call them. So yeah, that's basically it. So I'll highlight in green the core loops. So that would be these. And 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess that's this one. Yes. Right. So these are my core loops that you can see here, 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 and I guess this one. And the in-between ones would be the supporting loops. So these ones are just there to help with the deformation. So I have one here and one here. One goes down here, and again, this one isn't lined up perfectly, but it's there. So with everything here, I can, yeah, just basically do what I did just on that fake mouth rig. So this ends up connecting quite nicely with the rest of the face, because if you noticed, basically all the I want to go into edit mode. Wait. Sorry. I don't understand why I can't select the face anymore. That's odd. What? This is a weird one. Okay. Oh, alright. I had things hidden somehow. So let's get back to it. Yeah, so what I was saying is, if I hide this, you'll see that all the poles I have in the geometry, they end up connecting together. sorry. So yeah, all the poles here connect together, and that means that if you have a look at this one, yeah, I'm able to basically have all the most important loops in a very, very low res mesh. And then what that means for me is that I will basically be able to place one bone per vertex here, and I will then use those bones to deform the mesh and to create all the expressions that I want. But I'll go more into that in my next stream. This one will just be focused on the topology and the bone placement. But right, I basically have the same principle as this applied to the eyes. So in green, I have my corner loops right here. I think the corner loop here is actually this one. I did not talk about the placement of the poles, but I didn't put a lot of thought into the placement of the poles. I put a lot of thoughts into the how can I say that? The placement of the loops right here. That's a good example. So yeah, I really wanted to have those loops here. So the orange one, and most importantly the blue one right here. And just thinking about where I wanted those loops to be placed just naturally gave me like decently placed poles, because yeah, the place where the loops would connect just naturally ended up making nice poles. That's pretty much it. This mesh here is a tiny bit different as this one. This one is a bit outdated, and I want to update it, mostly because the nose ends up being super dense compared to the rest of the face in this one, where there it kind of is denser, but not a lot more dense. But yeah, I'll talk a bit more about the reason why I have those loops placed where they are in just a second. I just want to show how the eyes and the mouth are basically the same in terms of rigging. Oh, well, that's an understatement, but in terms of how you set the base of that to get the nice deformation. So I'll continue highlighting the edges. So here in the middle, I have, I guess, this one would be my core loop. Then I would have another core loop here. 1, 2, 3. This one, I think it is. Yep. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2. Okay. So that's my middle. Yeah, basically just the same as the mouth. Actually, I won't go into too much depth for that. And the density of the eyes is actually less than the mouth. I guess I could increase it. I just realized it was lower, but I don't think it's really necessary. There is a difference in that for the corner of the eyes, I added 1, 2, 3 this loop here as the supporting. Yeah, I think it's this one as the supporting loop to be able to just control how pinched or not the the corner of the eyes were. So this one right here as well, and 1, 2, 3, 4, this one as well. Okay, so yeah, and that leads me to have a nice again those three loops here connect to the eyebrows nicely, and now I can again apply that same 3 curves principle into the eyebrows with the exact same edges as I use for the eyelids, and that ends up being quite nice overall. Right, I will duplicate that mesh and start talking about all the loops. I guess I'll make some. I don't know what Blender just. All right. So I will make a bunch of materials with a bunch of different colors. So I have a blue one. Actually, I can mimic whatever I have here. So I have a blue one. I have an orange one, a red one, a green, and a yellow and a purple. Okay, so I said yellow and purple. I guess no, purple is more closer to blue. Okay, so let's start with deleting everything that's not the face, because yeah, basically everything that's outside of the face mesh, the topology doesn't really matter because it doesn't get deformed, at least not as much as the face. So I think I have what I want selected now, and delete everything that's here. Cool. So I'll start highlighting the edges in edit mode. Hello. So I'll start highlighting the edges as I think, like in order of importance, in my opinion. So to me, the most important edge loop that is very often not present in the meshes I see online is this one. I'll apply the blue material to it, and I guess I can start showing the materials. Oh, I need to set the material color actually. Viewport display. Great. I need another material. Let's call that default, and let's apply it to everything else. All right. So this loop right here, to me, is the most important loop that gets very, very often time ignored. And even when it's there, it's misplaced. It's important to me because if I do like these kind of shapes, you'll see that I have a very marked like nasolabial fold right here and here. And not having that loop, that let's show that again. Actually, I can remove them, create a new one, remove that one, and set that back to being red. Right. So not having that edge right here to mark the crease makes rigging very, very hard. Makes rigging the mouth shapes and creating believable and fleshy shapes super hard. So yeah. So yeah, having that loop there is very important, and having it having that edge loop right there, lined up perfectly with your model is super important, because oftentimes this ends up being kind of more outwards and yeah, kind of placed like that instead. And that makes sense because, well, that makes sense that this is a common error that you can see. That's because if you can see my faces right here, they end up being, why can't I select anything again? I am not in edit mode. What? Sorry, having some issues. Okay, I guess I won't select anything. So these faces right here, they end up kind of being squished together, and people don't generally like that. In this case, it doesn't really matter, and it's a lot more important to have this loop well placed than having these faces more squared. So yeah, that's this for the nasolabial loop. Actually, some people, if you look at reference online, like I think the topology from Naughty Dog ends up having this go a lot like up there, and maybe ends up covering a bigger part of the mesh. That's really personal preference. I didn't have that because in my case, I preferred having, I'm going to start needing to select things now. Oh, that's weird. I select things. Okay, it's hidden again for some reason. And if I, okay, all right, well, that's fixed. So yeah, I was about to say that I have basically this loop right here that I tend to call the superhero mask. I'll assign it, copy the color to there, and I forgot this one, assign. Cool. So I like having this loop, and this oftentimes, well, no, that's a loop that's actually there often, but people don't really understand why it's interesting to have that loop. And to me, it's mostly because of that underlying edge. Because if I start to like raise my cheeks, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there's a mark right here that you can really well define with this loop. That's pretty much it for me. Yeah, sometimes you see that like the loop doesn't go, like starts to go down from here and doesn't loop over back to the nose, and that's where you see this edge being brought over a lot wider than that, or maybe even like that. That tends to happen, but I didn't implement that. I don't think there's really a better solution between both. But yeah. Right, so after that, it's probably mostly just stuff that you saw again and again on a lot of different topologies. I have a loop around the mouth. I can add in red, copy the color right here, and this loop really, like I do have a pole here that connects the eyes together, That helped me reduce the poly count of the nose basically, and it doesn't impact the deformation whatsoever. So I ended up keeping it, but it doesn't really matter. I would consider this loop right here. Sorry, Blender froze. Yeah, well, I can still talk about the frozen image. All right, it's back. So this loop here. And not the nose, because the nose is its own thing. This I can color red as well. And I use these ones. Okay, so this is just the mouth area. It's not like it extends like this and kind of goes over to the nose, which I guess you could either count as part of the nasolabial loop or as part of the mouth area. But yeah, as long as you have like decently spaced out polygons here, and you follow the 3 curves principle, I think you're good. Right, same thing applies for the eyes. Sorry. So the eyes, I basically technically have okay, I need to copy the color again. Technically I have this part, which I could consider filler topology, and most importantly I have these edges. I can go inside there as well, and these edges are really the eyelids, and they are a lot more dense than the rest of the face. But if you take into consideration that the eyes need to close down, those edges will get stretched out a bit. So if they aren't squared like most of the rest of the face, they will get square, like more relaxed as they close. So yeah, it's important to have a decent amount of topology in the eyes, and this area really is just a filler between the eyes and the superhero mask. So I'll just color them green as well. Okie doke. Where is button? Okay. And that pretty much covers it. I do have, actually I'll open a second Blender because this isn't the very last mesh, and I have a bit more to talk about. Base mesh, I think that would be the one. Yes. So this is the unsubdivided version of the base mesh. If I show the subdivisions, you'll see some issues like that because I'm just subdividing and reprojecting the mesh. This one is a bit more updated in terms of topology compared to this one. But yeah, it doesn't really matter for this face rig. What I wanted to show is that I have these loops. I'll select the faces actually. These loops that go over the forehead and ends up going under the jaw. Yeah, that's just a nice loop to have because then it delimits the face properly, and you can extract the face. And if you work in games or something, you might want to, like this topology is quite dense, and like if you work in games, you will want to reduce the poly count, and that gives you a nice edge after which you can reduce the poly count. So after this point here, object mode, you can start making triangle and doing whatever you want, because this won't get deformed. It's just, yeah, not static geometry, but rigid, we'll call that. Yeah, I did make a few changes for the nose. If we compare both, the nose here kind of loops around quite nicely in there, and this one kind of has the same loop, but instead of going down like this, it goes back into the nose, which, I mean, both are good. Both are, you won't run into issues with deformation with any of those. I kind of prefer this one though, so I might end up updating the topology. I'll see. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the face topology. Yeah. I guess if you have any questions now, feel free to just ask them. And if not, I will continue on to the joint placement. Cool. I think I'll continue. And if you still have questions from now on, just ask them. I'll be happy to answer any. So yeah, like I said, basically that topology is made from that low-res topology that you saw, not this one, this one. And this means that I can basically unsubdivide it to, I'll just reduplicate the mesh and actually, yeah, redo what I just deleted. Just extract the face out of this. All right, split. Select this. No, I still have some connections. Merge vertices by distance. Can have everything now. Don't really need the mirroring. Alright, I think I have everything. So, yes. Okay. So, if I want to, how do I say that? I basically want to end up placing a joint per face of that low-res mesh. And to do that, I need to unsubdivide this mesh to get back to the original mesh. So I will select everything that's not between the poles. That's between the poles, sorry. So I'll just start destroying the mesh in there. And you'll see that it will end up looking like, well, like a face again. So these ones get deleted. These ones gets deleted. These ones. These. These. These and these. Yeah, these ones. These ones. right here. It is, and you'll see that when I select those kind of loop back around in here because they are connected inside the nose, but it really doesn't really matter, and that makes my life easier because now I just need to remove the mouth and I've automatically fixed the nose. So, whoops, I will do the same here. Move these. Will it have corrective shapes or is it only bone based? I don't know yet. I kind of want to have it only joint based, but if I end up needing corrective shapes, I won't force myself not to use them. I guess I could have saved that mesh because I did subdivide that exact mesh into the high-res mesh. I guess I can actually delete the inside of the eyes because I won't need to have any joints in there. And even this can be deleted. This as well. Same for the inside of the mouth. Yeah, I'll see. I might need to bring it back. We'll see. So cool. I will keep this, and actually I might keep more of that. So remove these. Yeah, just in case, I'll keep the mouth bag like this. And that's now pretty much where I want to place the joints. Actually, I will show you how the previous rig worked. Because I'll basically be using the same techniques. Sorry, just saying anything cool. So sorry. I will open the rig version 1. I guess no, I don't have it in here. I do right here. Cool. So in the previous iteration of the rig, I had all these joints here. I don't know if you can see them properly on the stream, but basically these are just joints that yeah, that skin the face quite loosely. Same for the lips, for the eyes, for everything. And what I ended up doing was to just basically animate all those bones into to create the animations, to create the expressions rather. So here I just loaded the lip corner out expression, and that's just me animating the bones manually from this pose to this pose. So I will keep the same kind of setup, pretty much exactly, but now with a better understanding of what I want to do and what I don't want to do, especially. And you can see here, actually, it's a good example of the issue I had with the nasolabial fold. Instead of going down here, it ended up going like this, super wide, like that. And that really made it hard to sculpt the shapes I wanted. So yeah, that's why I remade that whole topology. And yeah, okay. So I guess it's time to create the bones now. I will, for the time being, create them in a separate armature because where is that? I'll call that a proxy mesh because that's just a mesh that will be used for formation. Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that I am using Riggify to build the rig right now. And I don't really want to add my custom joints inside of the Riggify rig or armature, because that will just get deleted automatically by Riggify, I think. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, just out of safety, I will make my own armature just for the face bones. So I'll hide all of that. I'll hide the rig and show the proxy. Select it, hide this. Okay, so I think I can script that even. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. I will do that, save that as a new version. Start bones placement. Okay, so apologies in advance if that doesn't make sense to you, what I write. I won't go too much in depth as to what I'm writing, because I don't want to end up ditching scripting. Oh, sorry. The proxy mesh would be used for. Okay, so I'll basically be placing a joint onto each of these vertices, and I will attach all of these individual vertices 100% to the joint it's the closest to. So like this joint would bind these vertices 100%, this one would bind this vertex 100%, and so on. And then I can just, instead of having to skin this quite dense mesh manually, I can just skin this one and just copy the weights over to the dense mesh, and that will get me more than, yeah, pretty much 90% down with the skinning. Maybe not 90%, but yeah, that does do a great job, and it saves me a lot of time. So yep. Right, so let's get to the scripting. I'll just create the armature manually, set that to the center, delete the bone because I will make them myself. Right, and sorry if this stream gets off. I don't have a great internet and I'm using basically a 4G box to stream. Cool, so what I want to be able to do is basically loop over all the vertices right here. So first of all, I import UI, and then my mesh. What's the name of the mesh? I guess it's this. So mesh equals UI data meshes. the console on the side. Okay, and see if I print my mesh, I do get the mesh. That's cool. And can I print mesh.vertices? Yes, cool. So that means I can probably now create a for loop in mesh.vertices. And it does print a lot of things because it's printing all my meshes. That's nice. I want to find the position in world space, I guess, of all of these vertex. So Blender, I'm on the Blender's Python documentation, and I will just find the vertex. That's a mesh vertex. Okay, so what I want to find is the position of the vertex. I don't think I can do that from the Maybe co, as in coordinates. That would be a bad name. But I guess it could be right. I'll keep that on the side. Get vertex position Python. Alright, so it was the co attribute. And okay. Okay, that makes sense. Basically, the vertices that I get here, actually, that's probably fine. Because the vertices are in a relative position to the object, but since my pivot is in the center of the world, I am probably going to get the result I want, but those values seemed very small to me. I guess I'll try and see if it breaks. So position equals vertex.co, and now I want to basically add a bone to my armature at that position. So what's the name of my armature? That's not here, might be here. Guess it's this one. Yep, it is. Okay. So Samus base. So armature equals dot armatures, and that's okay. I'll remove the space here. So yeah, you want code, but to transform it to wall cards. Yeah, but I don't think I need to use the wall coordinates, or like to transform them with wall coordinates, because my pivot point is already in the center of the world. So technically my local coordinates and wall coordinates should be the same. So okay. Right. I don't know the API to create bones. And I imagine it's under the armature object. Probably this edit bones. Might be like edit bones.new or something. Yep. So armature.edit bones.new bone balls. This I'll just break out of the loop just to check if my failed script actually works, and it froze. I do get this issue a lot when I script in Blender. Somehow it freezes for no valid reason. Right, I'll just screenshot my script and kill Blender and start over. Yeah, no worries. Alright, so let's not get into that mode. Let's show the wireframe, create a new script, and so file dot import bpy mesh equals bpy dot data meshes yo dot head dot text.go bone equal armature dot edit bones dot new break, and I'll save the scene. Go to the console, put it over to the side, set side. Okay, now if I print it, failed. Samus face not found, because I need to create that armature again. Armature, the position. Where is it? Right here. Rename the underlying armature as well. Okay, I'll delete the bone it has. Save the scene now and try running the script. Required parameter name. Okay, I'll just give it an ID. I think that's what it expects. I'm missing a parenthesis. Edit. Oh, come on. I need to switch the armature into edit mode. How do I do that? Read only. Well, I guess I can do that manually because I am lazy. Alright. Yeah, but it's more of a pause that doesn't stop. So I like I tried yesterday and my Blender kept freezing for like a good hour or maybe more. So yeah. Why do I not see? Did that bone get created? Guess it didn't. Blender will freeze or pause if you have anything in the command line prompt highlighted. Wait, so if I select, I will save my scene right now. So if I select this and no, wait. In the command prompt, you mean like the console? Not sure what you mean by that. Command line prompt. Oh, this right here. No, that's this, right? No, that's the info. So yeah, the like the system console. I did try to, yeah. I did try to have something selected and run the script. It didn't freeze. I guess it doesn't matter too much. Well, I guess I will be able to find that out next time I get it to freeze. Do I get a bone created? Oh well, I did get it to freeze. So okay, I'm not sure what I should be doing now to have it unfreeze. You can unpause by deselecting whatever's highlighted. Yeah. I might be doing something wrong here. Oh, right. Okay. I just right-clicked in it. Okay, cool. That's very helpful and a very weird feature. Okay. So it did create my bone, but for some reason I can't see it. Actually, let's not have anything selected in there. Right, so I'm in edit mode of the armature, I guess. Edit mode. I would like to see the bones. If I go into pose, Right. I'm not quite sure why I don't see the bone, because Blender says it's been created. And I don't seem to see it anywhere. Yes, Samus face doesn't have anything. Do I need to do something more than that? Hmm. Yeah, no, you're fine, yeah, dude, that's cool. And actually, if you know why I'm what I'm doing wrong right now, not get the bone to show up, that would be helpful. I'm used to Python 2. Because this value keeps increasing every time I run the script, so the bone has to exist, right? But somehow it's not actually added to. If I create a bone manually, do I get kind of don't want to go through an operator to do that. Blender Python create bones. Okay, that seems pretty much relevant. Data bones. Yeah. I really don't like that you have to set right, so now this should work even if I'm not into it in edit mode. And it doesn't. Even if I must have copied a script from the 2.7 API. Blender Python set project. When all is that. Right, context of okay, so now the script works when I am not in edit mode when I start. That's cool. Now I need to figure out how to actually add the bones, which seem to be helpful in there. So yeah, bone.new. I guess I need to. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did, right? Except I didn't have the position. So I guess my head, I never know which part of the bone is the head or tail. I feel like the head is the base and the tail is the tip. So I would like to have this right here, and actually head position. And tail position should be like on unit 5 on its y-axis. Can I do that? Guess I can't. Vector plus list. Vector. Materials and vector. Hey, look at that. So I do have a bone. I guess I want it up in that direction. Yes. If I break, I don't break, right? Rather, what do I get? I'll freeze for a while. I get this, which... Huh. Okay, I didn't do that on the proxy mesh. So I get a ton of bones. That's funny. Delete all those bones. And create that on the proxy mesh instead. So do I still... where is that? Geo, face, proxy, I will rename mesh in the same way as its object. And make sure this is named properly. And if I run that, I should get a lot less bones. I'll set that to 0.1 or maybe even 0.01. All over. Alright, so I do have all the bones in pretty much the right position with this one. Right. But they are not placed. I guess I can just do that and that. Okay, so I won't get into why it wasn't in the right place. I just don't want that bone. There are a few joints in there that I don't want. Like, I don't really care for all those joints in the nose area. Even these ones I don't care about. I do care. I will place this one on the face right here. I don't care about these bones. I really don't care about these. And I will just keep that one. Cursor to selected. Selection to cursor. Okay. I guess I can already remove half of it, and I'll just use Blender's tools to place them. So all of these are fine. These are fine as well. Cool. I'll hide the teeth and tongue, and I don't really need those ones. Because all these vertices will just be bound to the jawbone, which I don't have yet, or the or the head bone, sorry. Right. What do I need? I do need a bunch of things for the eyes and the mouth. Because I basically, instead of just moving the bones, like I will be doing for all of these, I will want to, for example, rotate the eyelid around the, I guess the center of the eye would be somewhere around there, roughly. And then I want the eye joints to rotate around that point. So I'll add joints that are parent to the eyelid joints. So yeah, those ones will that are in the center of the eye won't actually deform anything, but they'll be parent of the actual surface joints here, so that I won't be moving those ones directly, or I guess I will, but as a fine-tuning. But I will mostly be rotating the joints in the center. So what I need to do now is to create a better. Sorry. I can hide that, and I will create a UV sphere. That's a bit too big. Right. I'm just trying to match the eye with a new sphere to find the center of the eye, and to place my joint at that position. And I guess no. So I'll place the cursor here and rotate that one based on the cursor position. That looks alright to me. I still have that shown. What? Cursor position. Yeah, it's not perfect. I guess I can do better than that. Sorry, just give me a sec. This. And charge on here. All right, sorry. So I guess this sphere here. Place the cursor there. Yeah, I feel like it's good now. Alright, so I'll add my joints with an S right here. I'll unhide everything, which I kind of don't want to do. Hide that, hide that, hide that, hide those, this, and this. All right. So let's go into the edit mode of that. Create a bone that's not that big. And I'll basically have that bone snap to all to the vertices of each of the bones that are on the eyelid. Duplicate that. Oh. Okay, before I continue, I guess at least I can continue. My joints, bones, sorry, aren't actually placed properly for some reason. Okay, I can continue just doing that and snapping to the bones instead of the vertices. And yeah, I guess I'll add one for the corners as well. So this one needs to be snapped to this. This is good. This seems to be good. This needs to be snapped here. Right. And I think I have everything. Okay, so I'll just parent those in a connected way. Actually, I might not want that. I might just want to keep the offset, but I can change that quickly. Connected. Connected. I think that's the last one. Yep. So what I meant by having these joints be disconnected but still children of those joints here is that right now I can't move that joint, for example. It will follow this one, but I can't move it. can only just rotate it around that point. If I want to be able to move it but still have this, I need to parent it using the keep offset function, and now I can move it, rotate it, whatever, and it still follows that bone. And that will probably be the way to go in the end, but just, yeah, that's not really important right now. So I guess what I want to fix now is the position of all that. That's very weird. Hopefully I can just do that. That fixes everything, and did not. I wonder why I don't have the good position. Okay, I guess I'll just spend some time off stream to just make sure everything is in the right place. But I do have one last thing that I want to do, and for that I will pretty much hide all the bones except the mouth ones. Guess. Let me think a bit, because if I go into the other rig, that I don't have opened, no, right here in the work, this one. Right, so if I go into edit mode of that armature, I basically, for the lips, have, instead of having the joints on the surface like I have here, I have these joints that are on the lip ridge, I guess you could call that. They are actually inside, and they are parent to those bones. And the fact that they are inside means I can then rotate. So if I hide, I can rotate the bone that's inside of the lip, and at that point, actually don't want these two. Okay, so if my bone is in this position instead of the surface, this means I can now rotate my joint, and I will get like a much easier time for the deformation of the like for the shapes where you push your lip forwards. So like a shape like this, where you end up having your lips. Great drawing. But yeah, I think you get the idea. So yeah, that basically just gives me a rotation point for these kind of shapes. So I don't know what that is. I do know what that is. What I want to do is select those bones. I'll keep the corner ones. Select these as well. As these. Just in case, I'll keep this one. I might actually not need all of these bones, because they might just end up being deformed in the exact same way as the outer bones. So I guess I'll hide everything else. I can even hide the mesh. Not quite sure which bone is which. I feel like the upper lip is the bone that's okay. Right, I'll do things manually. So for this one, I want it to go to this. For this, I want to snap onto this. And I'll actually do the parenting now. For this one, I 100% know that I don't want the connectedness. I just want to have the bones independent as much as possible. Yep. For now, I'll just snap this one just to see it. Okay. Right. I don't really know what I want to do with these yet, so I won't do anything. Snap this to this. Snap this to this, and snap this one to this one. Cool. Right, so now I just need to, I think I already did for this one. This one should be the upper, yes. Keep offset. This one is the lower. Keep offset. This one is with the upper. Keep offset. And I think this one just needs to go with that one. Let's make sure I have everything parented. Okay, I do have some rotation problems that don't really matter because I won't be using the rotation of the joints too much. So I might end up just having them just facing forward. Not quite sure yet. Right. I think that's, no, that's not it, because I need to have the joints inside now. I will do a quick job of that for now. Yes, this can go there. I basically want the position of this to be in the middle of the inside of the lips and the outside. So like this, probably fine. And this doesn't have to be perfect by any means, just to help me, yeah, work faster basically. One as well. Okay. I should probably rename the bones now. I think I'll just do that off stream because that will take a while and not be really interesting. Because, yeah. 99 isn't a great name for a bone if I want to know what I'm doing later. But I guess I can I do that? I guess I can. Okay, how many joints is that? Of course, I don't see that. I'll create a script, print len divided data.armature. Actually, divided context dot selected edit bones. Selected edit bones does not exist. Okay. Why do you freeze? Come on. Right. I will save this. Yeah, with the same name, that's fine. So editable bones, because why would you have the same name all the time? Context object does no attribute editable because there's no S. That's 278 bones. Okay, that's quite a lot, but that's not too much either. In the previous rig, I had, I think, 120 bones. And that was enough for the topology that I had then, which, if I show it again, is a lot less dense than what. It's basically one level of subdivision. Whoops. Alright, well, I guess I can see it like that. So it's basically one level of subdivision above this lowest level, but my actual base is, yeah, I guess one level on top of that. So having that many bones is definitely going to be of good value to create good deformation, and like to have a decent like to have a comparison point. I know that on the Uncharted 4 game, the main character Drake had about 500 joints in its face. I've talked to a friend in a company that I won't name. They are working on having, I think, 1,000 joints in the face for their future like PS5 games. So yeah, that's to like today's standards, or like actual like face or game rigs. That's definitely not a lot, and I feel like that's good enough for what I want to do. I might want more. I might want either more joints or just corrective plane shapes on top of that. I feel like to have a fast rig in Blender, I need to keep the joint count to a minimum, because that's a good example. Each joint like that ends up having a lot of action constraints. And I don't know exactly how computational intensive this is, but like for each expression, which I will probably have around like 70 expressions for the character, I need to have one of these action constraint per joint on the face. So if I do like 70 calculator, because I can't do math myself. So if I do 70 expressions, that's probably less than that, because 70 would be the left and right. Let's go with 40. Where did that go? Okay. Okay, that's weird. 40 times 278. Is it that much? Yep. All right. Well, that means I will basically have 11,000 action constraints in Blender. And that might end up giving me a rig that's very slow. I don't really know how this works in Blender and how fast these actually are. I know that in Maya you would end up having set-driven key nodes instead of action constraints. And it's even worse than in Blender, because an action constraint can transform the whole bone, so that's translation, rotation, and scale. In Maya, one driven key node can only drive one single channel. So if I want to, on every bone, to translate them, rotate them, and scale them on every axis, that's 9 times this amount. So times 9, yeah, in Maya that would be 100,000 nodes. And I know that this gets super slow in Maya. I don't really know how slow it gets in Blender, and I'm very curious to see how it performs. I didn't have any performance issue during the last time I tried. So I guess I'll just see, and if it's slow, I can just like have corrective plane shapes on top, and yeah. Okay, so I think we're at a point where I don't need this anymore. Does Blender have an evaluation editor equivalent to Maya? I'm not quite sure what you mean by the evaluation editor, like the profiler, or if that's the profiler, I don't think Blender has that. If you mean the node editor, it doesn't have one, or at least not one for rigging, or like it doesn't have a general purpose DG like you have in Maya. You do have like a node editor for the shading, but that's about it. Blender is like the Blender Foundation. The Blender Foundation is, I think, planning on making Blender a fully node-based application, but it's not there yet at all. I think they're working on porting the particle system to a node-based stuff first. But yeah. Yeah, sure, no problem. But yeah, I don't think you can profile your rigs in Blender. I wish you could. It's very hard to debug stuff in Blender, I think. Like, yeah. Just because of the combination of not having a node editor to have a like bird's eye view of your rig, or not being able to profile, which I'm not quite sure yet actually if it has a profiler or not, but I think it doesn't. But yeah, if you get cycles or anything in your rigs, it just ends up being printed in here, and the error messages are just not great. But yeah, anyway, I think it's time to actually skin the face. Actually, no. I just want to do one more thing. Is that I want all the joints, all the bones, to be deformed joints, except the eye rotation ones. Because these are just helpers. Yeah, sure. So, I have my joint selected and I just need to click on that checkbox. By default, if you click on the checkbox, it will just do it to the active bone, which I guess I don't have any active bone right now, so make sure this is the active bone. But if I press the Alt key at the same time, it will do that operation on all the selection. So now if I select my bones, they're all not deformed bones. And this means that when I create, where did my face go, right? So I don't, hold on just a second, I need to find, because that's not the geometry I want. Right here, and the face. Okay, I'm not in the same. Whoop. Proxy. Okay. So when I bind the face, I'll call that mask, to the mesh, to the face, to the skeleton, sorry. When I'll bind this to this, Blender will automatically set the weight for every joint, and it will completely ignore the joints, the bones that are not deformed bones. So, yep. Yeah, and so now if I go into weight paint mode, really I can select both. Well, I guess this didn't work. Oh, I am confused. Yeah, I do have all my bone groups here. But I don't see any weighting. Oh, okay. I'll delete the armature because since I duplicated the original face that already had some skin, like armature deformer, I probably had some old stuff that messed everything up, and I'll delete all the groups to get back to a fresh start. And now do the automatic weight. That was awfully fast. I am confused. This should have, well, basically do the skin. Okay. It did do it. Okay. Does follow. The Blender is already starting to be a bit slow when I select the bones. Which, okay, so that kind of worked here. But not really. Okay. That's annoying. Why? Okay, so this one deforms its vertex perfectly. This one as well. This one not so perfectly. Okay. Why? Are those deformed bones? Yes, they are. What's the name of that one? 152. 152. I select. Yeah, doesn't have any weights. I don't know why. I do have a few that have weights. Okay. Line from envelopes. Weight from bone envelopes. Could that be better? Not really, is it? Why? That's very weird, because I remember it working really well last time. And basically all the vertices had an influence of one on, like all the joints had an influence of one on only one vertex. And I don't think you get the option to set the max influences like you do in Maya when you set the weights. Like when you first do the first like the creation of the skin cluster, or like armature deformer modifier actually. Yep, I'm confused, and I don't really want to do the weight painting now. It's, yeah, I think I'll just go eat sometime soon. So I will try to figure this out like for 5 or 10 more minutes, and then probably stop the stream there. Because I wanted to stop just in the next step anyway. So let's again start on a clean slate. Remove the vertex groups. I don't care about that. I don't care about all that. My joints are good. And if I try to with envelope, like this. Why? Okay, it's even worse. I feel like I'm missing something because it should work. Right? Well, I guess I could do the weighting now, actually. That's pretty easy to do. Yeah, no, I was thinking about automating it, but I think I'm too lazy to write that script. So I'll just brute force it. That's 313 joints? What? Actually, I have more than I thought. Why? Oh, because did I count the joints before or after I mirrored it? I don't know. Right. Anyway. Let's just deal with the weight painting. Actually, no. You know what? I won't do it because I need to rename the joints first, because doing that will let me just mirror the weighting automatically. So yeah, I think I'll just do that off stream, just the weights assignment, and I will transfer the weights to the original mesh during the next stream, because that's an interesting thing to do and to explain. So yeah, I think I'll stop this stream now. If you have any questions now, like, before I stop, feel free to shoot them. I'll wait a bit more for that. But if you don't, well, have a good day to you, and yeah, see you next time. I probably will end up streaming tomorrow if my motivation is high enough, or like during next week or next weekend. I think I want to get that to a consistent thing. Yeah, no worries, man. I noticed that I dropped quite a bit of frames overall. Was the stream very stuttery overall, or was it good enough to watch? Because I could lower the bitrate a bit to get a more stable connection. But if I do that, things will probably get really blurry. Oh, and by the way, I did record the video as well in a nice like 1440p. Okay, cool. That's great to know. I'm seeing right now that my bitrate is a bit too high for the current connection. Great. Okay, and yeah, I did record it to a 1440p resolution, and I will be uploading that during the night, I think. So yeah, that will be a good video in high quality of that. All right, cool. So I guess I'll stop the stream right here, and yeah, see you next time. Thanks for coming in and watch the stream. Yeah.